Welcome back to another episode of Random Cardinal of the Week. I'm Jim Plaza. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe to Redbird Rundown on Spotify and YouTube, and follow Redbird Rundown on social media for up-to-date coverage and analysis of the St. Louis Cardinals. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon page, which is free to join and offers a paid tier for just $1 for your first month, and will also give you access to bonus content. And if you join from now until opening day, you'll be entered into a ticket giveaway for the Coca-Cola Unlimited seats on May 4th against the Milwaukee Brewers. Baseball is often thought of as America's pastime, but in reality, it's a global sport. While its official origins are usually tied to the United States, the game is played in more than 100 countries around the world. Professional leagues exist in places like Japan, South Korea, Italy, and Australia, and the sport has become a way for people to share culture, history, and tradition across borders. This week's Random Cardinal of the Week only spent a few seasons in St. Louis, but his baseball career took him to multiple corners of the world. Along the way, he represented his family heritage on one of the biggest international stages in sports. So to start, let's rewind to the start of the 2002 season. The St. Louis Cardinals were coming off of back-to-back 90-win seasons, and expectations were sky high. The roster was packed with talent in 2002. In the lineup, you had reigning Rookie of the Year Albert Pujols, center fielder Jim Edmonds, who had just finished his second straight 30-home run season, and rising outfield star J.D. Drew. The infield featured reliable veterans like Mike Matheny, Fernando Vina, and Edgar Renteria. On the pitching side, the Cardinals returned Matt Morris, who was coming off a 22-win season, along with veteran starters Darryl Kile, Woody Williams, and Andy Benes. It was a roster that was built to compete. But far away from the spotlight of that big league roster was a 28-year-old right-handed pitcher preparing to begin the season in AAA Memphis. He wasn't a top prospect, he wasn't a highly drafted player, and just 5 years earlier, he had nearly walked away from baseball entirely. His name is Jason William Simontacchi. Jason Simontacchi was born in Mountain View, California in 1973. Baseball was already part of his family. His father had been drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates back in 1970, and Jason grew up playing sports with his older brother, usually whatever happened to be in season at the time. After high school, Simontacchi's path to professional baseball was anything but straightforward. He attended De Anza Junior College for a year before transferring to San Jose State. After that, he transferred again, this time to Albertson College in Idaho. There, during his junior season, Simontacchi finally broke out. His strong performance on the mound caught the attention of scouts, and in the 1996 MLB draft, the Kansas City Royals selected him in the 21st round. His signing bonus was a whopping $1,500. And his professional career did not really get off to a good start. In 1996, pitching at Low A Spokane, Simontacchi went 2-5 with a 5.17 ERA. Interestingly enough, though, one of his teammates on that team was a 19-year-old outfielder named Carlos Beltran, who would go on to have a Hall of Fame career. Things didn't get much better for Simontacchi the following season. In 1997, he started the year at High A, but struggled badly. In just over 60 innings, he posted a 3-7 record with a 6.97 ERA. By July, the Royals released him. And at that point, Simontacchi seriously considered quitting baseball altogether. Instead, he decided to give the game one more shot. In 1998, he signed with the Springfield Capitals, an independent team in the Frontier League. Independent baseball can be a last stop for many players, but for Simontacchi, it became a turning point. And that season, he was dominant. Simontacchi went 10-2 with a 2.95 ERA and nearly 100 strikeouts in just 16 starts. His performance earned him Frontier League Pitcher of the Year honors, and suddenly major league organizations were interested again. The Pittsburgh Pirates signed him to a minor league deal, and he spent the 1999 season pitching in their system. But after 23 appearances, the Pirates released him at the end of the year. And then came another setback. While pitching in Australia during the winter, Simontacchi injured his knee. And back home in California, he found himself recovering while driving a tow truck to make a living. Baseball seemed further away than ever. But then he received a phone call that would completely change his career. Before the 2000 season, Simontacchi was contacted by a scout from Rimini, a team in the Italian Professional League. According to the story, the scout had simply been flipping through the baseball almanac, searching for players with Italian last names. Simontacchi's grandparents were from Milan, which meant that he qualified as a native Italian player. The team offered him a contract worth $1,500 per month, along with a furnished apartment, a car, and even a cell phone. For Simontacchi, it was a chance not only to continue playing baseball, but also to reconnect with his family's heritage. And so he accepted the offer. And in Italy, everything clicked. During the 2000 season, Simontacchi focused on developing a changeup, which was a pitch that would eventually become his best weapon in his arsenal. And the results were incredible. He finished the season 12-1 with a microscopic 1.17 ERA, and his dominance earned him a spot on the Italian national team for the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney. And at the Olympics, Simontacchi made a strong impression. Against South Africa in his first start, he carried a no-hitter into the sixth inning. He also appeared in relief against the United States, and he threw a complete game against the Netherlands in what became the fastest game in Olympic baseball history, a narrow 3-2 loss. Overall, he finished the tournament 1-1 with a 1.17 ERA, and suddenly Major League teams were paying attention all over again. But returning to affiliated baseball wasn't immediately easy. In 2001, Simontacchi pitched for the Minnesota Twins AAA affiliate, where he went 7-13 with a 5.34 ERA. Obviously, numbers that didn't reflect the success that he had had overseas. However, he continued pitching that winter in the Venezuelan Winter League, where he posted a much stronger 3.06 ERA in 12 appearances. That performance was enough to catch the attention of one team, the St. Louis Cardinals. In fact, they were the only organization to offer him a contract heading into the 2002 season. Simontacchi began the year in AAA Memphis, and this time he was excellent. Through his first several starts, he was 5-1 with a 2.34 ERA. Meanwhile, the Cardinals were struggling early in that season. Injuries to Woody Williams, Garrett Stevenson, and Andy Bennis forced the team to shuffle their rotation. By the end of April, the Cardinals had already used 10 different starting pitchers. So with few options remaining, the team turned to the 28-year-old journeyman. On May 4th, 2002, Jason Simontacchi made his Major League debut against the Atlanta Braves. And he couldn't have scripted a better start. Simontacchi retired the first 10 hitters he faced in the big leagues. Eventually, Atlanta second baseman Marcus Giles broke up the run with a home run, but Simontacchi quickly settled back in. By the end of the day, he had thrown 7 innings, allowing 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, and striking out 5. The Cardinals won 3-2, and Jason Simontacchi earned his first Major League victory. Manager Tony La Russa kept him in the rotation, and over his first 7 Major League starts, Simontacchi went 5-0 with a 2.45 ERA. Then came one of the most emotional and heartbreaking moments in Cardinals history. On June 22, 2002, the Cardinals were scheduled to play the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. 4 days earlier, the team was already mourning the loss of legendary broadcaster Jack Buck. And the morning of June 22nd, in Chicago, manager Tony La Russa gathered the players in the clubhouse and delivered devastating news. Darryl Kile, one of the team's most respected veteran pitchers, had passed away in his sleep at the age of 33 at the team hotel. He left behind his wife and 2 young children. The game was immediately canceled, with Cubs catcher Joe Girardi stepping onto the field to announce the news to a stunned crowd at Wrigley. After meeting with Kyle's widow, who reminded the team that her husband had never missed a start, the Cardinals made the difficult decision to play the following day. The pitcher scheduled to start in Kyle's place was none other than Jason Simontacchi. With the weight of grief still hanging over the team, the Cardinals lost the game 8-3, and Simontacchi took the loss after allowing 2 home runs in just 4 innings. but the team rallied in the weeks that followed. The Cardinals dedicated the remainder of the season to Darryl Kile's memory, and they responded with one of the most emotional seasons in franchise history. The Cardinals would finish 2002 with 97 wins and a National League Central Division championship. Simontacchi played a big part in that run. After his disastrous start at Wrigley, he bounced back to win his next two decisions, allowing just 3 runs over 13 1/3 innings. He was named National League Rookie of the Month for June, and through his first 13 Major League starts, he held a 7-1 record with a 2.82 ERA. By the end of the season, Simontacchi had made 24 starts, finishing with an 11-5 record. He ranked second on the team in both wins and innings pitched, trailing only Matt Morris. He also finished 9th in National League Rookie of the Year voting. Not too bad for a pitcher who had just been driving a tow truck a few years earlier. Simontacchi returned to the Cardinals in 2003, making the opening day roster. But this time, things were a bit more difficult. Over his first 9 starts, he struggled to a 1-3 record with an ERA over 7. Although he threw a complete game victory against the Astros near the end of May, inconsistency continued to follow him. By July, he was moved to the bullpen. He still managed to finish the season 9-5, but with an ERA over 5. In 2004, Simontacchi split time between St. Louis and Memphis, mostly pitching in relief. Unfortunately, shoulder problems, including a torn labrum, derailed his season, and the Cardinals released him after the year. After missing the 2005 season, Simontacchi attempted a comeback. He signed a minor league deal with the Chicago Cubs in 2006, though he never pitched for their organization. After a brief return to independent baseball, he joined the Washington Nationals organization in 2007. That season, making the major league roster, he made 13 starts for Washington before elbow tendonitis ended his year in July. It would be the final time he pitched in the major leagues. By the end of his career, Jason Simontacchi had compiled a 26-17 record with a 5.6 ERA, but had an impressive 20-10 mark with the Cardinals. After 2 more seasons in independent baseball, he retired in 2009 at age 36. But baseball wasn't finished with him just yet. From 2013 to 2017, Simontacchi returned to the Cardinals organization as a minor league pitching coach. Later, from 2018 to 2022, he worked as a pitching coordinator for the Kansas City Royals. Jason Simontacchi's time in the major leagues was relatively brief, spanning parts of just 4 seasons. But his story is a reminder of one of the great things about baseball. The game can take you almost anywhere. From California to Australia to Italy to the Olympic Games in Sydney and eventually to St. Louis, Simontacchi's journey connected family heritage with personal perseverance. And in 2002, during one of the most emotional seasons in Cardinals history, he became an unexpected but absolutely vital contributor. Again, not bad for someone who once thought his baseball career was over. Thank you again for listening to Random Cardinal of the Week. If you enjoyed this podcast and you've enjoyed the other content we've been putting out, make sure you like and subscribe to Redbird Rundown on Spotify and YouTube, and follow all of the Redbird Rundown accounts on social media. We'll be back next week with another forgotten name from Cardinals history. And until then, I'm Jim Plaza. This has been Random Cardinal of the Week.